Hey, our boy here is a Dickinson graduate. I didn't know that till that. So Dickinson, not Boston, but Dickinson. Yeah. He's a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your doctor's up here with us. I'm Jonathan.
We just fixed.
Yeah, we're glad to have him. He's always smiling. Always. Good to watch the. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He has,
That's what you want to do.
Yeah, hammer your gavel.
Okay, James.
You ready?
Jim, real quick, before we get too deep here, Jake's with the confidence. Like,
Cool. All right.
good to see you. We'll see you soon. What's that? I'd love to see you. You don't understand.
Let me call to order the meeting of the Highlands Town Board for Thursday, February the 19th, 2026. Our first item on the agenda will be a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Would you please stand with me for a moment of silence followed by the pledge? Thank you. Now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Our next item, item 3, is statement of conflict of interest. It is posted in our agenda packet, and I call that to the attention of the commissioners. If we have any conflict of interest on any transaction that we will be conducting tonight, it's incumbent that the person that has the conflict indicate that it is a conflict. So with that being covered, I'll go to number 4, the public comment period. If anyone would like to come and make a public comment before the board, I'm going to open the floor. I would request that anybody making a public comment will hold their comments to 3 minutes or less and state your name for the record. So now I will open the floor. If anybody'd like to make a public comment, please come before the board.
Okay. Germ-infested thing. I feel compelled to make a couple of comments about the tearing down of the Holton Stone Lantern thing. And so this is basically kind of like addressing 3 quotes in the newspaper that I read today, in the Highlands newspaper that I read today, that I would like to address. And one of it said that the Holt building, after more than 140 years on the corner of Main and 4th, had reached the end of its structural life. And all I can say to that is thank goodness that all of our ancestors in Europe, Africa, Asia, whatever, the old world, did not share that philosophy. And as a result, we can travel the world and see all of its living history through its architecture. Good thing they didn't tear the pyramids down or Angkor Wat or all of the great places. Age is a good thing, including in architecture. Anyway, second quote, the owner, Mr. Nesbitt, said, quote, he is about a month away from sharing the full development plans publicly, which will help provide context for how the new building will occupy and enhance the entire site. Well, I think that's very considerate of him to say that. but I hope that the town officials will have something to say about the full development of the site. Third, and finally, a part of his plan is to have nightly rentals on the third floor. I was relieved to learn that the third floor apparently does not call for hourly rentals, but never say never. Last but not least, we can all kiss goodbye one of the biggest, oldest, and most noble tree in Highlands, the one next to the Eggstone Lantern. Its demise, which is inevitable, will be a bigger tragedy than the loss of the buildings because it can never, ever be replaced.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? Floor is open. Hearing none, let's now move to the next agenda item, and that would be to review and approve the long agenda that we have proposed. Do we have any changes or corrections to the agenda?
We do have one change, under number 19. Actually, there's in a supplement to your packet that Gibby sent out is a resolution to seek funding for wastewater improvements that I would like for the board to look at and approve so that we can seek some additional funding for wastewater through the Helene relief funding.
Okay, so we'd have to create item number 19.
Yes,
No.
we could do it there. And actually also there's a budget amendment in your packet as well for the fee for the application for that.
Okay. Do we have any more changes to the proposed agenda?
Make a motion to approve as amended. Second.
Second? Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item would be to approve the January 15th regular meeting minutes. Do we have any changes, clarifications, or corrections?
Move that be approved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The other minutes would be the approval of the January 15th closed session minutes. You have had a chance to review those. Do we have any?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. The next item will be reports. And let me go ahead and start out with the reports, the mayor's report. We had the demolition of the playhouse this past month. And I'm already getting people coming to me wanting to make, proposals about how we can repurpose that property. What we have done so far, the Bryson's grading, they basically leveled the property, which was really surprising to me that after filling in the basement and so forth, it's a very level piece of property. They put in hydro seeding over the dirt areas. They put up silt fences. We still have a parking area and then now even a slab with the old metal building where people could park there too. I know that we'll go through that process of brainstorming and looking at ways to repurpose that property, but there is no rush to that. I think we need to let the hydro seeding, take place and clean it up a little bit more. I know there's some bricks that need to be removed. And then after that, we'll start that process. But that doesn't mean that people can't be thinking about ideas and discussing it among groups and themselves.
So you don't have any intention of putting it in next year's budget?
That is something we'll have to,
Something we should at least think about?
yeah,
Even if it's just preliminary stuff? Yeah.
Set aside some money for it.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yep.
Very good point. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, next thing, the other thing I appreciate, Commissioner Patterson, Tate, and Weller joining me and citizens coming down to the public hearing that we recently had with the county concerning redistricting. I thought that was a great event, and people from all over the county came and talked to the commission, and the whole message was that they'd like to see that whole process slowed down, study the possibilities, and then start considering redistricting the county for, voting purposes and the makeup of the commission. I also heard from, or felt that there was a real consensus that a referendum might be the way to go rather than just seeking special local legislation with the North Carolina legislative delegation. So I thought that was very positive and look forward to seeing what happens with the Macon County commissioners on how they approach revisiting this idea of redistricting the county. Other thing that was done, they had a public hearing on making changes to the Macon County Planning Board. Currently or previously, Michael Mathis, our planner, Justin Setzer, the Franklin planner, served on that board and actually had a vote. I spoke in favor of continuing to give the municipalities, the town, a voice on that planning board. The commissioners, after the hearing was ended, didn't share that view. So the previous makeup was dissolved of the planning board for the county, and there will be a new county planning board with 5 appointed members, and there will be the option for us to have a representative that will not be a voting member, but would be able to go and attend the meetings, so we can decide how we want to proceed with that at a later date. But I was trying to make the point at that hearing that what happens in the towns where we have, higher densities of populations in many cases, and we do have zoning and regulations, what happens in the county also impacts the town. So I hope that things will work out in the future, but I was disappointed that we lost our representative to the planning board. And then the other thing that I would encourage everyone to do is to go and vote in this March primary. Early voting is underway, and then the primary will be March the 3rd. It's always important for our precinct to have a strong voter turnout, so I encourage people to go out and vote. And also I want to express my appreciation to all the people that work the polls. They put hours upon hours of working in those polls. They go through training and everything, and it's a real public service. So I appreciate their efforts and their willingness to serve. Okay, the next thing that we will have is commissioners' reports and updates. So I'll turn it over to the commissioners.
Okay. At the meeting we attended, I was appointed in a 4-1 vote. Interesting to the TDC board, but they forgot Jeff on the EDC. So they assured me that it would be the next meeting that they'd be put on. And Mr. Mayor, I concur with you. I think it's sort of, it's sad that we don't get representation on the Macon County Planning Board. I feel like Washington, D.C. taxation without representation.
Thank you. Any other updates? Hearing none, I'll move over now to the town manager reports, and I think he has a great announcement to make tonight.
I do. Some good news. We applied for additional Helene Relief Fund grant for some additional upgrades to some water lines, and we were approved this week. We got notice. Those will, what we're focusing on are 4 different water line replacement projects is what we're going to focus on with this money. It was $3,164,254. And it was for water line replacement at Black Rock Circle, Hammond and Webb Branch, which Hammond, we've actually experienced a couple of breaks this week that we've had to work on. Buttermilk Road water line and Chowan Road water line. So those are where we're going to focus this money on. Again, it is going to take some time, probably 2 to 3 years, if it tracks the way the other funding has that we've received, but at least we did get awarded the funding. So excited about that.
Are these shovel-ready projects?
Um,
Or are we gonna have to,
Not yet. They've had some study on them, but
Some of them.
they shouldn't be too hard to put together.
and it's 6-inch lines?
Some are. The Challen line is. It would be ductile, I think, going from PVC to ductile. And some of them are smaller, just replacing galvanized lines that are corroded, need to be replaced. So the engineer has plenty of time to put everything together that we need to submit to the state. So the first grant that we received from the Helene Relief Fund for the generator at the water plant, we did receive the intent to fund for that, which is the first step from the state. So now our firm can proceed forward with that. I wouldn't think there's obviously as much engineering with that project as there would be with some others. But the date that the state put on there that the replacement would commence was basically May of 28. Hopefully that is moved up with it just being a more simple project, but we'll have to wait and see.
And what was the total of that grant?
It was a little over $1 million.
Okay.
So, and also going back to our Boys and Girls Club MOU, we did finally get Partef's official approval, and I sent that to the town attorney, and he'll be drafting a lease agreement off the MOU that was agreed upon. So hopefully have something back to you guys and to the Boys and Girls Club, hopefully within the next month.
Okay. That's it. That was really good news. So we have that CIP list of projects, and we'll be able to check some of those projects off that list now. So that's really good news that we received that grant. Okay, our next item will be the consent agenda. The consent agenda was in your packets. Do we have any questions concerning the items in the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the next item, number 9, will be for fiscal year 2025, the audit presentation, and that will be by Travis Keever of Gould and Killian CPA Group. Travis?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Can whoever's controlling the screen flip to the first slide? There we go. All right. Well, my name is Travis Keever with Gould Killian CPA Group. I'd like to start by thanking you guys for allowing us to serve as your auditors once again. I think this is the 4th year that we've performed the audit for the town. We definitely appreciate it. I want to thank Rebecca and her staff for all of their hard work and cooperation in completing the audit. These audits get more and more arduous every year with the expanding accounting requirements and especially this year with the FEMA funding and things like that. It's quite a process to get through. But they're always a pleasure to work with, and this year was no different. We issued 3 reports as part of the town's financial statements, which I think are included in your agenda packet. On January 23rd of this year of 2026, we issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on the town's June 30, 2025 financial statements. This means that we believe the town's financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Again, this is known as a clean opinion. That's what you want when you get an audit. The second opinion we issue is specific to governmental entities. It's required by government auditing standard. It's called a yellow book opinion or an internal control opinion. This is where we have to review the town's internal controls over financial reporting. It's not a full internal control audit. Rather, we assess the town's controls that are most impactful to the numbers in the financial statements. We do this in a number of ways, and this is where a lot of our audit work is concentrated. We test a sample of expenditures to make sure that all purchase order requirements are followed, that the necessary approvals are in place, and the budgetary authority exists. We test a sample of payroll expenditures. We make sure that the employees that are being paid are actual employees of the town, that they're being paid for the hours that their supervisor approved at the rate that was approved in accordance with the town's process. We also review numerous aspects of the town's year-end and month-end close process to ensure that documentary evidence exists to support the amounts in the general ledger system. And we review key terms of the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act to make sure that the town's doing everything they're supposed to do under that act, which is the primary piece of legislation that governs local government finance. So the result of all of this work is that we noted no material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting, and we reported no instances of material noncompliance with laws and regulations. So on that report, on the Yellow Book report, that's as good a report as we can give. No material weaknesses, no instances of material noncompliance. In FY25, we were also required to perform a single audit, which is sort of a standalone audit over the FEMA funding that the town received related to Hurricane Helene. We performed kind of that standalone audit on about $1 million of FEMA reimbursable expenditures. And we found that the town was in compliance with the key terms of the grant funding, and we did not note any deficiencies in internal control over compliance. So to sum all that up, a clean financial statement opinion, no internal control weaknesses, no compliance violations, and a clean single audit. So kind of at a top line level, that's about as good a report as we can give. So go to the next slide, please. So about 3 or 4 years ago, the Local Government Commission started a program where they've started comparing all the government's data to a series of benchmarks or key performance indicators that they set. If any of the town's financial information falls outside of those benchmarks, I'm required to tell you about it in a public meeting. The town only had one of those this year. We had one instance of an expenditure in excess of budgetary appropriation that was related to the final pay app on the Hummingbird Court Waterline project. Rebecca and Josh can speak more to this, I'm sure, but the way I understand it, this project kind of crossed over fiscal years. The last pay app kind of came in a good bit after the project had started, and the budget wasn't reappropriated in the new fiscal year. We didn't consider it a finding. We didn't notice any systemic issues in the town's budgetary process. This seemed just like kind of a simple oversight. And there was only one instance of it, but we do have to report it to you guys, and you'll have to submit a response to the LGC on it. So that's what we're doing here. But that's really about all there is to say about that. Next slide. This next slide is a pie chart showing your governmental fund revenue summary. Your governmental funds are your general fund and your fire department fund. This pie chart looks very similar to the way it did last year. The one kind of significant change is on the charges for services section. Your sanitation fees, trash pickup is included in there this year. That was in a separate enterprise fund in previous years. Everything else is about the same as it was last year. Next slide. And this bar chart shows a year-over-year comparison of those governmental fund revenues from the slide before. And you can see most things are kind of right in line, FY25 to 24. Again, the only two that really changed significantly are the two on the far right. And again, charges for services is up because sanitation fees are included in FY25. And then the other category includes charitable donations, and you guys had about $300,000 of donations related to the playground in FY 25. So that's why that category is up a little bit. Same kind of pie chart for the expenditure side of things. As you would expect, public safety, which of course is police and fire, is the biggest piece of the pie. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot else that's notable on here. Of course, the general government, all the other categories are kind of self-explanatory. General government includes governing board, administration, finance, legal, planning and zoning, IT, things of that nature. I think all the other categories speak for themselves. And again, sanitation's new. That'd be the one significant change from last year. The sanitation, just like the fees are included on the revenue side, the expenses related to sanitation are included in the general fund this year. And the same kind of bar chart showing differences from 25 to 24. So the significant differences there, public safety was up a little bit in FY 25. That looks to be related primarily to police and fire salaries. General government was down a good bit. We did about $700,000 of community center improvements in FY 24. Of course, that didn't repeat for 25, so that was the reason for that decrease. Of course, you got your sanitation expenditures that exist in FY 24 and did not exist in the general fund. Or I'm sorry, exist in FY 25, did not exist in the general fund in FY 24. And then streets just had a number of big ticket improvements in FY 24. Just did a little bit less paving and road work in FY 25. So this slide shows a 5-year comparison of the town's total fund balance and available fund balance. Total fund balance is the raw fund balance total straight out of your financial statements. Available fund balance is actually the metric that the local government commission prefers to use. It's a little bit of a complicated formula to get there, but in its simplest form, available fund balance is essentially the cash that you have on hand at the end of the year minus your unpaid bills. So cash minus accounts payable. And what you kind of expect to see, available fund balance will always be a little bit less than total fund balance, but you should kind of see them track kind of the same trend line between the two. What you see here, again, 21 through 23, there was a pretty good upward trajectory. Again, in FY 24, we had a few big ticket items like repairs at Little Bear Mountain, the community center project. Those two items together were 1.3 million, so it dipped down a little in 24, and then again started coming back up in 25. And this next slide shows your fund balance available, the number from the previous slide as a percentage of your net general fund expenditures. The LGC likes to use this metric to kind of see how much of a quote unquote rainy day fund the town has. The municipal average in North Carolina is about 60% of your available fund balance on hand, and that's pretty consistent amongst any size of government, any budgetary size, any population size. They all run right around 60%. Of course, the town was right there or a little above until we had kind of the kind of planned decrease in fund balance in FY 24. And again, it started ticking back up for FY 25. So this slide is just some statistics for the water and sewer fund. Working capital, that's your current assets over your current liabilities. There's about $7 million of working capital in that fund, which just means the fund is going to be able to cover its immediate liabilities without any problem. Unrestricted net position, that would be like an enterprise version of fund balance. If you had fund balance in an enterprise fund, that's about what the number would be. It's about a negative $3 million. You had $993,000 operating loss, which is kind of 2 years in a row. We've had a pretty sizable operating loss. There's a good chance if we have about that amount of operating loss again, it'll be an FPIC next year, one of those financial performance indicators of concern. Once you rack up a few years of those, then the LGC is going to start asking you what you're doing to bring that up, as far as rate increases or things of that nature. Grant funding received. received a $5 million grant in FY '24. The grant funding received in FY '25 was primarily FEMA related. And again, cash flows from operating activities. You would want to see a pretty healthy number there. You use your cash flow from operating activities to make capital improvements, pay debt service, things of that nature. We actually had negative cash generated from operations this year, and a net overall decrease in cash of about $360,000. And saying similar statistics for the electric fund. Working capital of about 7.3 million. Again, no issues covering its current liabilities. Unrestricted net position or quote unquote fund balance of about 11.5 million in that fund. That fund generated 1.3, almost 1.4 million of operating income. $787,000 in grant funding received. Again, that's pretty much all FEMA. This fund generated about 1.1 million in cash flow from operating activities and had an overall net increase in cash of 928,000. So no issues at all with the electric fund. It's kind of cruising right along. And I believe that's the last slide that I had. Yep, it is. I'd be happy to take questions if anybody has any, but otherwise, once again, thank you for allowing us to be your auditor once again for FY '25.
Travis, I have one question. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
kind of a multiple choice. Excellent, good, fair, and poor. And that is our long-term debt position. How would you describe where we are on long-term debt?
Give me 1 second. Let me refresh my memory on that. I'll give you my multiple choice answer. Well, you have in the water and sewer fund, which is where we see a lot of municipalities carrying a pretty heavy debt load. You guys don't have very much at all. So that's positive. You got some room there to do some debt financing for future improvements if you need to. There is a lot of grant money available right now, as Josh alluded to earlier in the meeting. That's of course always better, but it looks like you do have some room there. And again, the general fund, I think we've got some recent debt on a fire truck, I know, and I can't remember what the rest of it is, but it's about $9.5 million in long-term debt in the governmental funds. That's certainly not out of line with what we see in other places. So I don't think long-term debt, in my opinion, wouldn't really be an issue.
Okay. And then, the water and sewer that you were just talking about, by raising rates, which we've done, and we've got built in, going up forward, this kind of negative situation we have now, your analysis is that we will begin to build up a reserve and pull out of that over the next coming years. Is that?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if you're running, just like any business that's running an operating loss, and you really sort of have to look at the water and sewer utility at least something like a pseudo business. It's an enterprise fund, so it's supposed to be self-sustaining, right? If you've got a business that's running a loss, you've either got to increase revenue, decrease expenditures, or some combination of the two. So yeah, I think raising rates, being on sort of a path to raise them a little bit every year just to keep up with inflation, if nothing else, is certainly a step in the right direction.
Okay. And the more grants we get, the better, the more helpful that is in addressing these.
From a cash position, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you very much for joining us tonight and sharing the audit.
All right. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Okay. Our next item will be the Bill Futrell rezoning request on Dillard Road, and Michael Mathis will lead us in that presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill Futrell submitted a petition for rezoning on December 19th, 2025. The subject property is located on Dillard Road. Subject property is zoned R1 residential and is located in the water supply watershed 3, the balance of the watershed. Mr. Futrell is requesting a rezoning from R1 residential to B3 commercial. The property is 1.21 acres according to section 4.3.1A of the Unified Development Ordinance. This ordinance, including the zoning map, may be amended from time to time by the Board of Commissioners, but no amendment shall become effective unless the Board of Commissioners first submits the proposed amendments to the Planning Board for recommendation and comment. The Planning Board reviewed this application on January 26. Their recommendation is to approve the rezoning as submitted. The only recommendation I have tonight is that we set a public hearing for March 19th, 2026.
Okay.
And Mr. Futrell is here. If y'all have any questions tonight, I don't know if you want to wait until after the public hearing for any of those.
Okay.
So I move we set a public hearing at the regular meeting at the March board meeting
I'll second that motion.
Second.
for this specific zoning.
Yep, I'll second that
Okay.
motion.
All right, very good. All in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye. Thank you. We'll have the public hearing. Thank you, Michael. The next item, item number 11, the Highlands Chamber Building Lease. I know Joanna Fain, the Chamber Director, is here, and I've asked her to come and summarize what the Chamber is requesting concerning a lease.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. As you know, our lease is up in June of this year, and we would like to request to renew that. We do think we're good stewards of that building. We traditionally had a 10-year lease, and in the last, I believe, 3 years or so, we've gone to a 1-year lease and had a bit of back and forth on that. And in an effort to save our resources and multiple meetings discussing this, we'd like to ask for a minimum of a 5-year lease. We do have some improvements. We'd like to do that building to continue to increase its value and take good care of that building, and assuring that we have some time there, extended time there, would help us to want to make those improvements.
Okay. And Nick, we did kind of a discussion this morning with the town manager. Would you like to weigh in on the procedural issues and everything with this lease request?
Sure. So under statute 168-272, you all, as it relates to a 1 year or less lease, which is what we currently have, you don't have any requirements to have a resolution and adopt it. But if we go to a 5-year lease, you would need to adopt a resolution that states that the town board has determined that it does not need the property for the term of the lease, and it needs to be a published notice that of the resolution that is adopted. So if that's something that the board would desire to do, then I think a motion to instruct staff to prepare a resolution for consideration would be necessary.
Okay. Any questions of Joanna or Nick?
I make a motion to propose staff develop a resolution. It's a motion.
No second.
We have a second?
Jim?
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by raising your hands, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. We'll
Thank you.
get back with you
I
at the next
appreciate it.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item will be the Franklin Road Electrical Upgrade Bid Approval. Josh Ward.
So we had the second bid opening for the Fourth Circuit for electrical improvements on Franklin Road on January 27th, 2026. Bob Thomas, our electric consultant, held that bid opening. The low bid was Service Electric Company at $430,934.41. If you remember, I stated the first bid opening, we only had one bid. We were a little concerned about that, but when we rebid it, we had three bids. We're all competitive bids, and at this point, so that we can proceed forward with the project, I would recommend the board approving Service Electric Company and their low bid.
Let me make sure I understand this. The bid was 430,000? What's the 329?
It's broken up into two.
So it's both of them together?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 600 or 700?
Yes. The way it was bid is broken up into two sections.
770,000 or something. Yeah, okay, okay. You said just the 430 and I thought, oh, I thought I was going to do it bigger than that. And that's within our budget?
It is.
From the 2.8 that
Actually,
we,
it was a little better than what we thought.
and do we have I noticed that theirs was, significantly less time than the others. Do we have a start time?
We do not. There's a
Okay.
lot. Once you guys approve this, Bob will continue on with the contract documents, which is going to take several weeks. So right now, we don't know an exact start time.
Okay,
We have ordered the materials. I think some of those are actually coming in. The poles have been ordered. There shouldn't be an issue with that. There's a couple of pieces of equipment that may take a little bit longer, but that shouldn't hold up anything. So it's just basically going through the contract documents and getting those finalized. So that could take them up to a month.
okay, and until we
It'll
do
be a
that,
longer project. I will say it'll be a longer project than what
Than
we
this
had.
fiscal year.
Than what we had on the last project from Highlands Falls in.
well, I mean, it was, do you think it would start within this fiscal year?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yes, it will.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the awarding of the electric contract to Service Electric.
Okay,
Second.
and we got a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Very good, unanimous. Thanks. Okay, our next item is the playground guaranteed maximum price. Josh Ward, and I know we have folks here tonight that can answer questions.
As you know, we've been working on a guaranteed maximum price with Compan, the company that was selected after we did an RFQ for a design build for the new playground at the recreation park. They have submitted a guaranteed maximum price you have in your packet that is within the budget of what funds have been raised. As you'll see, it's right at 1.6 million. Also, you have in there a budget amendment that shows actually what we currently have and then what's come in, what we had before and what's currently been raised the past few months. And that comes into $1,595,000. And then there was a $5,000 donation from the Highlands Catchers Health Foundation that you guys approved in the consent agenda that makes it 1.6. And I do think there's some other funding that is trickling in that will be additional. I will state that this document does say that this contract is a construction management at risk, which is not, it's a design build. And that's what we advertise for. So basically tonight, what we need is the approval of the guaranteed maximum price that Compan has submitted so that we can begin work on the contract with our attorney and Compan. And I'll turn it over to Jeff. I know he's got some other details.
And just to fill everybody in, we had a very healthy budget as of 2.5 years ago, plus when this started. Obviously, we know how things work. And so we were planning to come last month, but as all the prices rolled in from grading contractor to concrete walls to sidewalks and fences, et cetera, we had to go back to a little bit of a drawing board. So what you see here compared to what you saw 2 months ago is slightly different. Not really from a scale standpoint, it's about the same size. It did shrink a little bit, but obviously if you don't have another 300,000 or plus in the bank, then you adapt to what you have and what we've raised. So what you're going to see here is still going to be a phenomenal playground. In the package, you can see on the first page, I know it's small, but you can see basically the layout shape. Obviously, bottom of the page is against the parking lot. And then you can see the variety, just pictures and types of different equipment that are on it. So you have very many. We lost one or two. I think we lost two, I'll call them primary pieces. But it's still going to be, that's not a necessarily a negative thing. We're still having a substantial, not only aesthetic, but also a lot of educational aspects to it. So I welcome any questions, but this guaranteed max did get us within the money we have committed, which is obviously where we wanted to be. And this also gets us to the point that, and the approval tonight, as you all know, is basically to enter into a contract for this, but negotiate it and have Nick and staff review it for legality.
Commissioner, if I could just say to Jake with Bellberger with Compan Company is here today. He's a graduate of Dickinson School, which actually is the Pennsylvania State University Law School. But we're not going to get into that tonight. But what I'm going to say is he's here to answer any technical questions for you might have about the playground, and just that we appreciate all the contribution we received. Mm-hmm. And hopefully tonight, after we move forward with this, that we can get approval for Josh just to kind of be able to guide this. We're within budget, and to be able to start this project, and for Josh to sign off on anything that we need to do as far as proceeding with the construction of it.
Yeah, and along those lines, this is an all-inclusive playground. The surface is a rubber surface. A lot of the equipment is accessible for all abilities, and very excited about this moving forward. So if we have any questions for Jake, otherwise, I can.
Did I see somewhere it would be finished by September 1?
That is the goal, yes. Obviously, if we get a dry summer, no problem. If we have a wet one, it might be a little later, but the goal is certainly to be done by then, as long as we start now.
I know. We're Highlands.
Yeah. So that is the goal, but it's not really a commitment to the newspapers. So
what do you need right now?
I'll be happy to make the motion if you'd like.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve allowing the town to negotiate and pursue a contract for a design build in the amount of, repeat that, $1.6 million, correct? Is that the number?
1.599.
1.599.
No, well,
With 1.59 with more to come.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, with more money to come, but that's what the number says, correct?
Yes.
1.59 million.
Well, as presented. Yes.
As for the guaranteed max contract. So that's the motion.
Second.
The town manager would oversee the
And
process.
authorizing the town administration to move forward.
Mhm.
Yes, we have a second. Yeah.
Got a second?
I second it.
Oh, you did, okay.
Sorry.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, thank you.
I didn't hear what you said.
The budget amendment.
Yes.
You want it to include the budget amendment, correct?
Correct.
Your motion.
Mhm.
Yes. I muttered that. I didn't say that. Yes, please.
I heard you.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian and Jake.
Community.
And Brian and I will remain involved, obviously.
That's good to know.
Yeah, well, just like
Thank you.
we'll be the first ones on the swing.
Well,
We're
I was
gonna
gonna
make sure
say,
it's,
they're
we're
gonna
gonna make
hold
sure
you
it's-
up. Yes.
we're making sure it's rated for the two of us and
I was
that's
gonna
good
say.
for everybody.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda, number 14, outdoor recreation use policy amendment and special event permit application. I know there needs to be some adjustments to the existing applications and permits, and I'll turn this over to Nick Tosco, our town attorney, to give us a briefing on the adjustments.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. Based off of a previous discussion, the board asked us to revise the special, well, I think at the time it was just a rental use permit application and agreement. And after a lot of discussions that we've been having about the use of town property, which includes the town facilities, the town parks, the town land, the town streets, et cetera, we thought that what we heard was a consensus to create one special event use permit that would be an application that no matter what your event is, if you're using town property, you would use this form, application and agreement so that the town will have certain protections. So we are calling it a special event use permit. It has a lot of the protections that you've already seen in there. What we've done as it relates to for the outdoor recreation policy, it's essentially just changing the names of what we've already been referring to. And instead of calling it a renter, we're referring it to as a user because, sometimes people are filling out an application and signing an agreement to use the property, not necessarily rent it out. And so that's what those changes are. Those are just kind of administrative changes. The changes to the special event use permit application are essentially what I just explained, which is to broaden this out to any event that is using town property broadly, real and real property in the form of land, streets, facilities. And then the version that is in your agenda packet, the reason why there was a change is because I think we all kind of recalled when we were discussing this, especially as it relates to bigger festivals and things like that, that it's probably best. We started with a rental agreement for things like the community building, and we kept all the same fees in, but now that we're broadening this out, it makes more sense to put the fees in the fee schedule and be able to change that yearly when things go up, and have different fees for different types of events and things. So what the changes that you see in there is that we just struck the fees from the permit and just said that those will be provided in the fee schedule every year. So that's a high level summary, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Questions for Nick?
And this is basically the adjustments we've had as we've reviewed this at least 2, if not 3 times in the past. We've been working towards this culmination point.
Correct. And now we should have a good uniform, application and permit and agreement with all the protections in place for the town.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to put a fee schedule in instead of having it in there.
Yeah, then we can just change that, update it yearly or
As
biannually.
needed.
As needed.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
needed, exactly. Agree.
So do you need a motion to approve this?
Believe so. I would assume.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be 2 different motions. One is a motion to amend the outdoor recreation policy, and the other is a motion to approve the revised special event use permit application.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve as presented the outdoor recreation use policy
Changes, yeah.
changes as presented.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please signify by raising your hands, saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Does that cover it?
No.
No, now we need a
Yeah.
motion to approve the changes to the special event use
I make a
permit.
motion to approve the special event permit application changes.
Okay.
I'll say.
Got a second. All in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
No.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay, our next item, number 15, the interlocal agreement with Macon County improvements to the old landfill for dredging material disposal. Josh Ward. And we have Mike Hanson here tonight of McGill Engineering.
Yes, Mike has been working on the dredging project, details of where the dredging spoil will be stored and disposed of. We had talked a few months ago about the old landfill, which was the original landfill. I know Amy brought up last time. It was I guess the town's original landfill is the area that Michael had been looking at, and he'd worked with I think the county manager as well as the solid waste director on a potential plan to modify an area at that facility where they put their yard debris now that would widen that area out. And it would store a lot of the dredging materials. So Michael had come up with an MOU that would be between the town and the county. I submitted it to Nick for review, and Nick came back and said, I feel like it needs to be an interlocal agreement, which did make more sense. So he went through and changed some things. Michael has reviewed it. We went back and forth with this. I wanted the board to see it tonight. I have sent it to the county manager, Warren Cave, which is having the county manager or the county attorney review it. And then it will go on to the county board, hopefully in March, to be reviewed. So I guess right now, I think we just need to probably wait on the county to have their review and to get back with us on it. I feel like it's a win-win for us. It gives us a place to dispose of the material here in Highlands, which will reduce the cost to haul the material to Franklin, which will allow us to haul more loads out of Mirror Lake. So hopefully the county agrees with it, and it will require some improvements that will take some money to accomplish. But I think in the long run, it will be better for the project as a whole. And really at the end, it will be a win-win for the county as well, because it'll make their yard debris storage yard there larger than what it is now. And it will create another access to that area, which will be, I think, better for them. So Michael Hanson, again, with McGill has been working on it. He's with us. Michael, do you have any comment?
No, I think you've covered it fairly well. The county has been good to deal with up to this point. We've discussed openly their concerns, and hopefully this interlocal agreement addresses all the concerns that they brought forward. And as you said, I think in the end it does work to the benefit of both parties. And it certainly allows the town of Highlands to move forward with this dredge project under better circumstances than having to haul it a longer distance and find other means to dispose of the material. So open to any questions that the board may have related to the interlocal agreement, or at least the technical components of it.
I guess the question I had was, how much county land is there? Isn't it surrounded by national forest? Do we have to engage the?
It is surrounded by national forest, basically. I don't think so. I think it's whatever we do on county land, we can do.
Okay, but I just didn't know how close we were getting to whether it, particularly when you're talking about runoff and drainage and all the rest of that stuff, and the wetland and the whatever else you had in here. I just didn't know how close the national forest land was and if that made a difference. We're going to actually have to ask them.
As of right now, we have not identified any elements that would require any type of permitting or permission from National Forest.
Okay.
All the operations that we're doing are fully contained within the county land. and within what was the footprint of the old landfill. Essentially, the dredge material is being placed immediately adjacent to the closed cell of the old landfill. So there is additional permitting that will be necessary to go in and modify the existing municipal landfill permit. And that's part of what's integrated into this interlocal agreement is the town is taking on the responsibility along with McGill to go in and update, modify that permit to allow the permanent placement of this material and provide new grading for where all the placement of the fill is going, as well as the grading of the expanded mulch operations area and the second access road.
Okay. And Josh, you said we don't need to have any kind of board action tonight on this? Or we'll wait for the county, or should we approve ours and let them come back if they have any changes?
Nick, do you have a recommendation with that?
Yeah, I would recommend we wait. And if they have changes to it, then we're gonna have to bring it back and get an amendment from you all and stuff. So it's just better to just make sure they're on boards. And then when the parties are ready to execute, you guys can vote to instruct town manager or the
Okay.
mayor to execute.
All right. Any more questions of Mike or Nick or Josh? Mike, thank you for waiting and being available for questions.
By all means.
Mhm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on now to the item number 16, Town Board Commissioner Appointment Procedure. And as I mentioned it earlier in the meeting, that Commissioner Pearson will not be here at the next board meeting due to a procedure that he's having. And, you know, I think we need to keep that in mind along with actually also, I know Eric, you've been working with the Food and Wine Festival. They would like a response in a timely manner about the issues of the Food and Wine Festival. So as we start this discussion, I don't know where we're going to go with the procedure, but it might be possible that we could have a special meeting to address this issue and the Food and Wine on March the 5th or the 12th before Commissioner Pearson is not available. I think it's important as we process the appointment procedures and take a final action that all the board be available whenever.
So you want it relatively soon though, right?
Well,
Before the next meeting,
that's
I
a
would say.
discussion we can have because we don't have to do it in March. It could go into April.
No, but
or-
I think we need to do it in March, but that's me.
Yeah.
But
So-
what date are you officially, I know it's not a
16th.
vacation, so.
16th, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is right before the meeting on the 18th, I think.
So that's what, Thursday, the 5th or the 12th.
I think the 12th is better personally,
Yeah.
but just from a standpoint of making sure we have all our ducks in a row for both subjects, but
Okay.
extra week will be valuable.
yeah, the 12th should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
So what we.
Is this, Mayor, I just wanted, I don't know if you're wanting me there for this discussion, but depending on what time it is, I do sit with another council on the 12th, March the 12th. So I would not be able to go at 6 or 7, but I could do earlier, but.
Okay. And this would be a special meeting.
Do it Tuesday, the 10th.
You could-
Wednesday, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there are other days.
but that's okay.
Well, the Wednesday's
I
our
have the
retreat.
retreat on Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to get it in before, because otherwise it gets pushed to beyond to the 26th. And by then it's,
Well, and even then, I mean, based on what's happening, that's gonna be,
he can hobble in here.
it's the sitting that might be difficult, so.
The 13th, Friday, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if it's earlier in the day, I mean, I'm here, so.
Amy,
can
would
be
you
earlier as
like
far
an
as I'm concerned.
afternoon, late afternoon?
Yeah, I'm tired.
I don't,
I'm good anytime.
Okay.
I'm good right now. Yeah.
So on the 12th, what happens if we had it like at 5 o'clock? Would that give you time, Nick?
Did you say you have a meeting at 6 or 7?
Wait, what are we doing here?
Just a special meeting?
But how long is it gonna take?
Well, that's
We could
very
be-
true.
yeah.
We need to figure that out before we,
Yeah, Nick, what is well, it doesn't matter. Do you have on that is that Wednesday or are we talking about on that Thursday?
The Tuesday? I thought you were talking about the Tuesday.
That Thursday.
Thursday,
The 12th.
Early.
Thursday, the 12th, but earlier.
Yes, I have to be going in at 7 to the council meeting.
So if we had a meeting at 4,
depending on what we have to do, we have long meetings.
yeah, but that gives him, I
Still
mean,
be
all
3
2.5
hours for him.
to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Unless he has to travel. I don't know.
Yeah, are you remoting in or you have going somewhere?
I could figure it out. I could work at the town hall. I could take the meeting from the town hall there and then just walk over into the chambers.
That's up to y'all.
Well, let me make sure we know what the procedure's gonna be and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just how long it's
Yeah.
gonna
Let's
take.
just earmark right now tentatively this 12th, March 12th, possibly at 4 o'clock. But now
Because
we're
if
going to
we-
have a discussion on what we're going to do
Right, because if we
and
also
then make
have
adjustments
have
as
the
needed. Yeah.
food and wine, that's gonna take a while.
Well, I will say, yeah, it might. We have been meeting with Sissy, street department, et cetera, trying to, we're going to try and hash out a lot of the details to where we come and don't have to talk about getting the weeds. We can, obviously, but we'll have a complete plan of attack. So I'm just saying it shouldn't be a 2.5 hour work session for that. But again, we don't know that for sure, but it just means that in the order of it, the appointment process should be first.
Yes.
Because if we run past and he has to leave.
That's what I'm at.
I know, but we're saying for the second subject, we can go at 3 o'clock as far as I'm concerned,
Oh, I
Yeah.
got it. He doesn't have to be there.
not for the tail end of
No.
that. I mean, that's just my opinion, but
I agree.
we can do 4 o'clock, we can do 3 o'clock, but again, we can decide here
Yeah.
following this.
So we're holding this date and time with flexibility. So now I would suggest we segue into a discussion on how to proceed. We have 5 people that have applied for consideration for appointment for the vacant position. First of all, I want to thank all of the folks that have taken the time to do the application and submitted it. I know that's a lot to ask, and we appreciate, their willingness to participate in the process and volunteer to serve, this community. That would be Bill Grubb, Margot T., Mark Hain, Jan Pittman, and
Darryl Griswold.
Daryl Griswold. Thank you. We appreciate their applications and willingness to serve. So with that said, we've got 5 applicants, and I'll now throw open to the discussion on how do we proceed with making this decision, basically. And Nick, I know you have some legal ramifications when it comes to town to actually making an official vote, correct?
Yeah, as I laid out in the memo, my recommendation as the school government's recommendation is the nomination and ballot method as opposed to a motion and vote method. But, recognize that, in that situation, there's some pros and some cons to that. So, that ultimately either one is perfectly legal. You can do either process you want, but, again, my advice is nomination ballot and to provide a chance for each of the applicants to give brief remarks, speak with you all as a board, and then for you all to vote by open ballot, not a secretive ballot.
I'm assuming, maybe I'm wrong, that we're not gonna make the decision that day.
I was hoping we were, so we can
Okay,
that's just how I felt. I'm hoping we can. I don't know.
5 people.
I understand. And I can't speak for them, but I believe the newspapers might be doing questions for them as if, as candidates. So that would help start that process and then they can address us at the meeting. So it's up to you all, but if we do the nomination and
it'll be a group interview or a individual interview?
I think it's an open meeting, so everybody would be here.
I would recommend giving each person their time, their allotted time,
Right.
as opposed to trying to do them all at one time. If that was the question, sorry.
I was thinking about this legal, and I don't know about the legality of this, but could we have kind of a drawing lottery system to where we would call the people in the order of the lottery, interview them, then they could, sit in the audience, and that way all the candidates wouldn't be playing off of one another. It would be kind of like a fresh
One at a time.
interview, one at a time.
No, I do agree with that.
That's what I was
That's
asking.
what you meant. Okay.
That's what I was
Yeah, that's
asking.
one meeting.
Mhm.
Because they can read body language. They know what answers we want.
Yeah.
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 And the idea of 5 candidates, 10-minute, 15-minute interview per
Probably-
candidate.
10.
Probably 10 would
10,
work,
10,
don't you
yeah.
think?
10.
I was trying to be generous.
They have a opening statement of 3 minutes or something and then. we
And
can-
then some question answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So
we
if you
can
have
make that
5
known.
at 10 minutes, that's an hour right there with a little bit of time in between,
Yeah. So the whole process would be an hour and a half minimum.
minimum.
Right. So 3 o'clock it might be.
And this is just a procedural question, but if we did make that decision on March the 12th, that person who is selected could be sworn in
A week later,
a week later, okay, to where we'd have
technically.
4 members on the board until
Yeah.
you get back, and then we have 5. Okay.
So we're going to interview these individuals and we're immediately going to go into some type of a nomination and a ballot
Mm-hmm.
system. I guess we'll just pass you our ballot and
Well, unless we feel like we need more time to think about
more
this.
time to think about
Or
it.
we
Okay.
maybe,
It'd make
let's
it-
bring 2 back in or something like that. I don't know. I don't think we need to be tied to making that decision on the 12th. I mean, it would be nice,
Mhm.
but it's not necessary.
Understood. Leave it up.
I would leave it open.
Good. And then I'm asked. Then if we do a ballot system, is it just the majority person comes on, or is it the majority comes on, or do we keep eliminating until there is a majority? I mean, until there is a unanimous.
That's the ground rules that you would want to do. And sometimes, places will do, if one of the candidates receives no votes, they don't, move on from the first round, things like that. So those are the ground rules that we would need to kind of decide upon, so that we're knowing in advance.
And Nick, on a ballot system, like our clerk would have ballots with the names of each commissioner on the ballot. They would cast their ballot, the clerk would tabulate it, and, the majority vote getter gets the appointment, and then those ballots become public record, correct?
Correct. And your name will have to be on them.
Yes. Okay.
I'm good with just a simple majority, just to make it easy versus having potentially 5 or 6 rounds of voting on it. But
Well, it could be-
but I'll be game for any of it.
You could have 4 different names the first time around.
You could, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then it eliminates one, then you can get,
Yeah. But if the first round goes,
Well,
5-0 or 3-2 or whatever, that person, right?
yeah, we only got
Comes
4
on.
voting there.
yeah, right.
No, so it'll be the first vote that gets the majority. Yeah, is that what
So
we're
does,
saying?
but if there is a tie, does Pat,
No,
If
the
there-
mayor does not vote on nomination and ballot method. That's the other thing to consider.
Okay.
So-
that's why,
But-
okay.
Okay.
What you could do is you could then go to the motion if you're 2-2, then you could go to a motion and then you'd get 2-2, yay, yays, 2 nays, and then he could vote.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's how I assumed it. So just
The mayor can only vote to when there's an equal affirmative and negative to a motion.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
That seems,
So
so
my
10,
suggestion is lay these ground rules out and kind of get that to us in the next week or so. So we're just kind of comfortable with what the whole process is.
agreed.
So did I understand correctly that we are saying that if any of the candidates receives 3 votes, then that would be enough to,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
yeah, I was gonna say if the,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're taking
so we're
minutes on
gonna
this.
go at 3 o'clock on the 12th? is that what
I
you're
think
saying?
we should go to 3 just so we're not,
I agree.
because we'll have 2 subjects.
Yeah.
That is very important for Eric to be here for, so.
Hopefully all the candidates are.
Yep, hopefully they're all available
Mhm.
at 3 o'clock on that day.
So we should have a special meeting on March the 12th, starting at 3 o'clock. The first item on the agenda would be the appointment of
Potential appointment. We should.
Yeah, the potential appointment,
potential appointment.
the nomination.
And then the second item would be a review of the food and wine festival request proposal.
Correct.
Okay. And actually, I think we've had a discussion about the procedure would be, each candidate would be given 10 minutes,
Mhm.
3 minutes opening statement. And my recommendation is that prior to that, the clerk or someone, we do a lottery draw where each is scheduled and they come in individually and are interviewed, then they can stay in the audience.
Oh,
But,
I assume they'd all be here the whole
well,
time.
here's
No.
what I was gonna say then. If you do that, then you get the hitchhiking Me Too thing. If they're not actually in the meeting room and you're asking questions,
But if
you
this
get more
is-
of a fresh
Well,
approach.
I understood that,
What
but
do
it's
you
an
think?
it has to be an open meeting.
Yep, it is.
Oh, I agree. It is an open meeting. I'm just seeing if we could get the applicants to agree that, they will come in like it's an individual interview.
If they.
Nick, your response to that, Nick?
What do you think, Nick?
We can't, I mean, I would not advise us to insinuate that they have to leave or anything like that. I would just say you will get your turn, allow them to come up to have their individual turn. But if, there's nothing we can do to make sure that people are not in the room.
Okay.
Put it that way.
All right. So we'll just have a lottery then of the order which they will.
Can we, are we gonna do lottery at the opening of the meeting? As
Yeah.
to the
Good
order?
point.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
we'll do that.
Nobody will know who's going first, second,
Yeah.
third, fourth.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Do I have a consensus? This is the procedure we'll follow.
The other thing that you might do is we might at least have some canned questions that we're going to ask.
Or, yeah. Or each of us have one. I mean,
Yeah,
That would be kind of consistent, probably.
I'm just trying to move it along,
Yeah.
so we've already thought of, I mean, you can, obviously, you can explore more something that they say.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's going to develop the questions or
Well,
we'll just have one for each commissioner to ask?
no, you can develop your own, and then if it's already covered, that's fine, but if it's not, then you can ask a question.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, I'm thinking out loud here. I'm gonna probably come in with 3 to 5 generalized questions, and it just depending on how their opening statements are. I might go with 3 or 5, one of those, or I might go with none of them, or I might make up a brand new one based upon something they said.
Right,
So I will be, I think we should all be
Be
somewhat
prepared.
to
yeah,
ask a few
And
questions.
based on the applications they filled out and the resumes and so forth, it might be that a question would be to, ask them to clarify or explain or expand on their experience. Okay. All right, then we're all in
Yeah, I think
agreement.
so.
This is the way we'll proceed.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Okay, our next,
Do we need a motion for that special meeting?
yes, we do.
I'm going to make a motion to have a special meeting on March the 12th at 3 p.m. for the subject of interviews and potential appointment selection, as well as food and wine.
Is there anything scheduled?
Available here? Okay. Just make sure.
We have to, we
Sorry,
can move
so-
the meeting.
Motion for the meeting for those two subjects.
Okay,
Second.
second. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Thank you very much. Very good. Thank you, Nick. All right. The next item, number 17, the town board committee discussion. This is a follow-up. Commissioner Weller and other commissioners that expressed the current concern about the workshops, some of the problems we face with workshops, being able to do follow-up, getting into specific, issues and recommendations. Some of the commissioners, I think, would like to see us go to a committee format, possibly a combination of a workshop and committees. And I wanted our town attorney, Nick, to kind of do an overview of the pros and cons of what we could do on setting up new committees or workshop.
Sure. A common misconception, I think, and not saying that you all have this misconception, is that when you appoint a committee or a board or something, that they don't have to follow the same rules that you as town board of commissioners do as elected officials. That's incorrect. So as a public body, any committee that you would set up would have to comply with the same open meetings law. And the reason why that's important, in addition to having to take minutes and do all those things, just like you all do, the important thing would be to understand that there cannot be, without violating the open meetings law, there can't be discussions by a majority of the members. So, a big concern that we as lawyers, municipal lawyers have is with 3-person committees, if two people are talking in the hallway or something, that could be considered a violation of the open meetings law if they're talking about things. I think there's ways to ensure that you could do this, maybe, but I guess what my advice is, and I talked to Bob Hageman about this, who Charlotte has, when he was Charlotte City Attorney, they had committees as well, and they still do. And our advice would be, if the goal is to be able to discuss things in long form without having to worry about cutoffs for getting to the full regular Board of Commissioners meeting, having workshops where you have preset, they're in the calendar. You could have them as just like you do your Board of Commissioners meeting, but they're on a different day when you would normally have a committee meeting, for the purposes of just workshopping and just deciding to have a discussion about certain topics and make recommendations to the full board. That's all things that you could do, as a workshop, as opposed to on a committee. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, what if all 5 of us, when we get this appointment made, can't be there? Do we need quorum all the time? And no, you do not need quorum if you are not doing official business. If you're not voting and taking action on items, which you wouldn't be doing in a workshop. So, you set the schedule, and whoever comes, just like what you would think of as a committee. So, that's my advice. Obviously, you all are the ones that make that decision, and I'm happy to answer questions about it. But my legal advice is that it's a little bit risky to be doing 3-person committee meetings.
Well, our committees before were only two.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah.
Does that change the dynamic if there's 2 liaisons or 1 liaison out of a 5-person board? I'm going to use an example. County level, same rules apply for the most, I mean, for county commissioners.
Right.
I'm on an advisory board, the Recreation Commission. We meet at 8:30 in the morning at the Carpenter Building on odd numbered months at 8:30 in the morning, the second Tuesday.
Okay.
Every second Tuesday of odd numbered months. And there are 2 liaisons, 2 of the commissioners are on that board with me. Now, the commissioners are not voting members of that advisory board. They're basically their liaisons. And I chair it. So I do the agenda, I run the meeting, et cetera, and we give input and then we make recommendations, and that's the committee. And then they take it back to the commissioners after there's been some discussion. So with that, I mean, it's advertised, it's consistent, it's always the same time, always the same day, and open to the public. And we have public come and do public comment, et cetera, especially during project time. So would that be of concern if we set up, and I'm not talking about having 20 committees, I'm talking about having, like, there should be one for recreation for Highlands, and it might meet monthly or every other month, I don't know. But, so is that a concern?
Am I understanding correctly that it's 3 of you in the committee?
No. No, well, I'm talking about county commission. I'm not on the county commission. So 2
Yeah, I
county
know that.
commissioners come to that meeting, and then it's just community members, and I'm a community member in that context.
It doesn't matter. That's the thing that you got to get away from. It doesn't matter who's on what or what have you. It is the public body. So I don't know what did you say the name of that committee was?
It's the Recreation Commission for Macon County.
The Recreation Commission. Whoever are members of that commission, that would be. So if there's 3 of you that are on that commission and you are having a conversation in a hallway with one of them, if there's 3 of you, that's still an open meetings violation. That's the concern.
Okay, but it ranges from 5 to 7 members that are not elected officials for the county. Okay, 2 commissioners come and they don't have a voting, they're not part of the voting body, et cetera. And we're just advisory, which is what committees are in most cases anyway. So like I said, I'm just trying to understand the context of it. So there's 5 members, community members that make up sometimes up to 7, and it depends on appointments, et cetera, but 5 to 7. And then there's 2 commissioners that are our liaisons, as they call them. And they come to the meetings to watch, and they do give input, but they don't vote, and it's 2 of them out of 5 for the county. But then there are 5 to 7 others that are actually the committee. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that is fine. If it all depends on what your public body is. So if you are going to have other members that are part of this committee that you set up, or committees that are going to raise the quorum above 2, then you're okay. You know, it's when you're getting into the 3 or less that you're gonna get into difficult situations.
Yeah, understand completely.
But if you have staff members like Lester, for recreation, he's a part of the public body of that committee. So he's part of the quorum and so forth.
Correct. If he's appointed as a member of that body, correct. Yes.
Or our
now
planning
liaisons.
Our planning board has no elected officials, but they've been appointed by this board, so they are a public body subject to open meeting.
Absolutely.
Requirement.
Public records and all the different things. Yep.
And my example of the Recreation Commission, it is an appointed body. So it is a body, it's a body of 5 to 7. And then the 2 liaisons. So again, that it's not an issue. We still advertise it. It's still an advertised meeting, and open to the public. But it doesn't violate quorum or procedure order, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, again, it's just however many people are actually appointed to it. And you can have staff on there, but again, I think there was maybe a misconception again with like if they're staff. So right now, Josh is not included in anything, right? Like he's sitting there with you. He's a staff member, but he is not, staff doesn't get included in that, so if you thought about having like, for example, two of you to be on a committee with, Josh and Lester, and then you're like, well, we got four people. Well, they would have to be appointed to the public body. They couldn't just be staff serving that appointed body.
Understood. Understood. I just wanted to make sure I did understand it correctly, and that's how I understood it, so.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, I wasn't on the board at the time, but in most cases, there was one person appointed from here, appointed to as being a liaison. It always,
We weren't.
No,
we
that had a
two-
It was just,
We had
we usually had
two-
two.
Two people committees,
Okay.
like a finance committee, a recreation committee, a
Understood.
public works committee.
But
Oh,
it's
what
not
else
like
do we
we
have?
didn't vote on anything. It was just.
No,
it was
it was a way of gathering the information
Information
that
that
then would be brought to the board.
that's what I'm trying to get back to.
Yeah.
Yes,
But then we just have to make sure that our appointed bodies have enough people to warrant having two people there. So that I realize we're not voting. I mean, that's what I don't quite understand, because even in the.
But they were still
Recreation
open
Commission-
meetings.
Correct.
Yeah, the open meetings law, so the open meetings law requires that anytime you have a majority of people, it has to be an advertised, open, noticed meeting. So
Right.
if you had only 2-person committees and you're talking anytime that's not during a meeting, that is going to be a violation of the open meetings law. That's the issue.
Understood.
I'm not sure I understand it, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's still confusing.
Well, I think first off, as we explore it, and I'm not saying we're ignoring and going the other way, what I'm saying is I think we need to come up with if there are committees, if we do that, what are they? Which ones are actually?
Well, we used to have recreation.
Correct.
We had public works, had public safety,
Finance.
Finance,
finance,
Planning and zoning,
planning and zoning,
Yep.
and,
sustainability.
yeah.
I don't know that we had planning and zoning, did we?
Yeah,
That was,
yeah.
yeah,
I think so.
and,
Land use or.
land use.
Land use is what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
But some of those were like ad hoc when you needed to have them.
The only thing I'm trying to, I won't say get away from, but what I'm trying to avoid is our work sessions. We had 11 hours last year in the whole year. And in most cases, it was just starting dialogues. It
Right,
wasn't-
we can never get anywhere.
Correct. We spin our wheels
Right,
constantly.
right.
So, and in most cases, stir up a storm and then try
Then it
and
just
calm
drops.
it down.
Yeah.
And then or walk away type of thing. Not walk away, that's not the wrong term, but
Yeah,
it's hard to accomplish anything when you have, that's why having the committees to meet and then,
right. And gather the information, lay out the options, then you
right, then we
actually,
can have an
you've
effective.
done the
work session.
homework
Right.
so that we can
So-
actually have a coherent discussion.
Right. So I think we should all determine what we think should be committees. And it may not be all of the same ones. I knew that you used to have a rec commission, a rec department, because the
Parks and
county
Rec.
commission,
Yeah.
the county rec commission chair used to come to it. I used to go to it as well. So, and I went to the one in Franklin as well, for Franklin. Now Franklin finally now has rec department, so I'm going to it, but they haven't ever had one till right now. But, so I go to it. But
So Nick, what if they're not appointed, but they meet? So there's not an official appointment. Is there a way, I mean, like the board,
You have to appoint them
has a quorum here, two of them get together, it's not a quorum.
Yeah, but under the old committee structure, if you recall, the mayor would constitute the committees each year.
Right, I
And say,
understand.
Appoint
I
them.
understand that.
And
You
you
would,
serve
you would
on rec
appoint
and
them,
this.
but
Yeah. But there was an official at the beginning of the year where we were
Appointment.
electing Mayor Pro Tem and everything would happen. New committees and everybody would agree that these were the committees and those are the people that would serve. Yeah.
yeah, I understand. But I'm saying if they weren't officially appointed, does that make a difference?
They are officially appointed. The mayor appointed.
well, but
I know that.
he's talking about the committee itself, not the, I'm using
If
the word
they're not-
liaison, even though that's the wrong term.
If they're not
So-
officially appointed,
I mean,
Does
as,
that make a difference?
as the general public or just
Like
these
you
board
guys can meet,
members?
two of you guys can meet,
Mhm.
and it's not a quorum as the town board. But if you're appointed to a committee is what he's saying, then there's a quorum because it's a different committee with a different number. But if they're not officially appointed,
Mhm.
I feel like we're spitting.
That's
our
why I
words
say I
out.
don't understand it at all.
It's, to me, that'd be kind of the de facto understanding that you're going to serve on this or something.
Okay, and maybe it's a different idea how to accomplish it, but the current format of work session is not working, in my opinion.
You never get anything
I
done.
concur. Right. So that we just need to come up with ideas on how we can do it. And Nick, we'd be open to alternate. I know you mentioned one tonight. We'd be open to alternate ideas, but we need to be able to, and they can be public meetings. I don't
No, yeah,
think
they
they should be. They should
They should be.
be. But I want to have discussions to where we can actually work through some details and have a back and forth, not a talk and react, but a discussion. And unfortunately, in
So
the
you can-
context of where we are, it's not a discussion.
So you get your background information, you know where we're going.
Right.
You look up your options, you look up your possibilities, and we get a discussion about what direction we're going to take to
Correct.
solve whatever problem it is we're trying to
Yeah.
solve.
I mean, no decision's gonna be made until it comes
No.
to the whole body anyway, but at least have the background
I
information. and
think the
education.
original problem was that not everybody knew what everything was. You know, not everybody had the same information that was given to them.
Right.
But that's the committee's job, is to gather the information and
Right,
then
explain
give all the information, and explain it to the full board.
How many did the county have like this?
30.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
the county had like 30, he said.
30,
Well, because they have all different entities
Yeah.
and a lot of departments and all that kind of stuff, and they all have liaisons, so they had.
You just broke them up. Yeah, there was, Kevin took good care of me when I first came on. I think I had 11.
is there a difference in a liaison, Nick, to a department?
No, I mean, again, if you're appointing that liaison, you know, as like a member of the body, but just the person that's going to report to the full Board of Commissioners, they're still included, you know. Now, if you want to just, you know, say, okay, we're going to designate that, you know, Amy will go and sit with the board and pay attention to what they're doing as a liaison and is not part of the board for the purposes of what constitutes that board, that's okay, you know. But if
We-
you appoint,
no,
We
I don't
had
wanna
that
do that,
discussion of
because then you'd have to
liaison.
have public on all these boards.
And we had
Right,
that discussion
right.
of the liaison system years ago. And I think one of the concerns, and maybe Commissioner Tate can remember, that in the county, they had liaisons and it could devolve into like that person was supervising overseeing the department. And that created kind of a alienation factor among other
I think
board
this is
members.
more, the committees are more of an information gathering.
Yeah.
Weeding out the chaff, getting it concise so that it's presented to the board of all the information that they've collected and all the options and what we're trying to accomplish. Or the problem that we see that we even need to see if we need to accomplish it. And I don't understand if two people can't do that with whatever staff and public comment is going on, why that can't be an open meeting or whatever it has to be, but it's just more information gathering than it is anything about
No
making any
decisions being made.
decisions.
Right.
Yeah, you don't.
You are, right, you are framing the problem, framing the solutions, framing the possibilities, framing the information so that it's easier for us to have a more concise, in a workshop or wherever we do it, have a more concise idea of what we're aiming at.
Right.
Isn't that what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, how we get there and we're completely on the, you know, doing it properly is just got to figure out how to do, but I don't understand why we wouldn't be, but
I don't either. I don't have any idea why we don't have two people on a committee, if that's not a quorum, we're not deciding anything. We are simply getting the information to give to everybody.
What I think we need to do next then is to kind of go back and do some institutional memory about the makeup of those committees and what we had.
Well,
And then
the
bring it
problem
back.
is they're telling us that that's illegal. I mean, we had it and that's what we did.
Well,
Well,
it's
no, correction. I am not saying it's illegal to have a 2-person committee or a 3-person committee. I'm not saying that's illegal. What I'm saying is there is a concern if you have a 2 or 3-person committee that conversations between 2 people in the hallway, at a different regular board of commissioners meeting or whatever, if you're talking about things that the committee takes up, that is an open meetings violation because you're supposed to be only doing that at a noticed public meeting. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just simply advising, if you feel like no matter what, you're comfortable that that's never going to be an issue, then that's your decision to make. I'm just trying to steer you out of the hot waters legally. I'm just trying to make sure that you're complying with the open meetings law, and it is not advisable to have, that few people on there. So what you can fix that with, multiple options. One is appointing staff or other members of the public to join that committee so that's advisory. Or you could do it the workshop method that I said, where it is like a committee. It's just called a workshop. And you can have whoever you want to go to that. And it's noticed just like everything else. And there's, on a different day so that you're not running into time crunches, etc. Or you could just do a 2-person committee and that's it. And just be very careful that you're not ever having conversations about what you're talking about in the committee outside of the committee meetings.
So let me ask a question. Let me reframe it. Okay. Let's just say that you have, and I'm going to use the term liaisons again. Let's say you have 2 commissioners that are liaisons to, and they occasionally have a meeting with the finance director. Is that a problem?
2 commissioners who are, I guess I don't know what you mean by liaisons. What does that mean?
Right, okay, let's say there's 5 commissioners, Highlands commissioners. 2 of them are, I won't say responsible, but they would be the 2
Take the
that
lead
speak
on
to
the
the finance
finance.
department. If those 2 members go and meet with the finance department, is that an issue for open meetings?
No, it is not, because
Information gathering.
That's right. And no, even if you talk about business, because that's 2 of you on a 5-person commission. So your board.
2 of us from
majority
the
is 2.
5-person board. That's not 5 people on this commission. It's just 2 people from this board going to the finance director. To 3
Right,
people
that is-
sitting in the room. 3 people sitting in the room.
That is totally fine. But if 3 of you go, that's a majority.
Yeah,
and that,
understood. And Nick, let me mention something. Kind of like earlier, I don't know if you heard it, but we were talking about base and accent colors. Committee is not the right term. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm gathering from this conversation.
Right.
Committee is the wrong term because that opens up a can of worms that we don't want to open. Because all we're trying to do is have, like, we do have 2 people assigned to
Areas
the
of
finance department.
areas of interest or
Yeah, I mean,
responsibility.
like we did before.
However you do
Like
it.
we did before. It's not, it's going, and 2 people go and meet with Lester, the finance, not finance. Lester, you can do the finances. Lester at the rec department, then it's just us information gathering and talking to them,
Right.
getting information. So we're better educated when we come to a work session.
So you're better
But those-
educated to educate the
so-
rest of us
so I'm
on
gonna-
the issues.
I'm going to stop saying committee because I think that's the hang up. I mean, and you see what I'm saying, Nick? Because what we're really talking about is 2 commissioners going and meeting with the finance director, or 2 of them going and meeting with the recreation director. That's not problematic.
that's not problematic.
Well,
And
that's-
you can
that's
just
what
do
we're
that.
actually
You don't,
About.
you can just do that. You don't need any type of.
Right.
Okay.
That's basically what we
Okay,
did.
Nick, that's
we
what
did-
we're talking about. So
Yeah,
sorry
the
for the confusion,
trigger-
but that's what we're
The
talking about.
trigger for the open meetings law is an appointed body. So if you're going to appoint
Understood.
committee or an advisory board or whatever, that's the trigger. So if you just want to informally say, hey, Amy and the mayor are going to talk to this department, that's totally fine. You don't even have to have a meeting for that.
Yeah, okay.
How do you form these groups then?
What groups are we talking about?
The liaisons.
Well, just like the chairman of the county commission did, it would be the mayor's job.
Yeah,
I
but
appoint
that's
them.
appointed.
No, you appoint us. You say you two are going to finance. You
And he
two.
just said that's an appointed committee.
That's
That's an appointed committee. Oh, if we're the two that are designated. Oh,
If the mayor creates or appoints, yeah, that's an appointed body. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But if
is-
there's only two of them, how is that?
So what if you did two commissioners and whatever staff that is, say it's Lester, the manager and the clerk, that's 5.
but they're,
Then a quorum would be 3.
but he's saying the two appointees are the problem.
No, we have to do it we do it by
two
lottery.
could
We don't
talk
get
without
appointed
it
by a
being-
committee, we do it by lottery. We have all committees in there and we pull out, everybody pulls out 2 things and those are the 2 you're on and you're never appointed, you just got it by lottery.
Wait. So if you want to do it, what Josh just said is correct. If you appoint Josh, the clerk and the mayor to be with whichever 2 you want on the body, they're on the, what do you call it? Advisory committee, advisory board, whatever, then you're fine. Because you've appointed them to be, and you have the 5 persons.
I mean, when we had the committees, I
But
mean,
we
you,
weren't appointed, it was just
Right.
2 of you guys.
but you were
You could be
always
appointed
there
too.
when we met with like Lamar.
Right.
But
So
we
now
never
if you
met
appoint
without
the
you.
Staff member, the manager and the clerk to each of them, and it's 5, then
So we'd have to formally appoint those groups, including staff members. You'd have to have 5 if you have 2. You'd have to have 3 if you have 1. If it's I can't say a lesser committee or lesser group is bad to say, but.
Because he said 3 or less.
The problem is having a regularly scheduled
if you have 2,
meeting
I'm saying
that is advertised, because sometimes you don't have anything to talk about, and sometimes you have a lot of stuff to talk about. And I don't want Josh to be going to 12 committee meetings every month.
He needs something to do.
Would you have? You could just actually schedule the meetings, correct? And for
That's correct,
like
yeah.
a
Depends on what you-
regular schedule, and you could just cancel them if there's not something to discuss.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you just have a regular meeting scheduled that, just like your board.
Yeah, we need to.
You don't have to put it in the paper or anything.
Yeah, we need to work that out, put together a list and then who would be part of it.
Mhm.
I don't know. So I don't understand. I mean, we've been doing it at the county forever. We'll just have
Yeah. Well, that's how we always
the
did it here
chairman just
forever.
appoints the liaison to every department.
Yeah.
And
But
And
they,
you can do that. That's totally fine. Appoint a liaison to every department. You can absolutely do that.
a liaison.
Yeah. That's not appointing a public body. Appointing a liaison from the commissioner to a department is not appointing a public body. So,
A commissioner, or can you appoint 2 to a department?
are you going to have regular meetings? I mean, the details of that kind of matter. If you're going to have regular meetings that are scheduled where you're going to be advising things and you are going to have 2 members, then you're right back in the same situation. You know, you can call them liaison.
Don't get this, we only have 2 members.
Appointed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, isn't it correct? You appoint 1 typically? I mean, my body has 2, but we're an appointed body.
Okay,
Okay, so
Still some details to figure
well,
out.
we just agree to, continue working on.
I think we should, and I think we need to come up with what the groups are.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Scratch committee.
Josh and I and anybody that wants to weigh in, we'll just
Yeah.
process
And
it.
then, I mean, obviously
Well,
we'll.
Josh pretty much knows what categories we need to have as, information and,
Right.
because that's really what it is. It's a way of disseminating the information to everybody.
Agreed.
All right,
Okay.
very good.
I agree.
Shall we move on to the next agenda item?
Yep.
All
Does
right.
that go home?
No, we got to keep going here. The next item is number 18, the Town Board of Commissioner Rule and Procedures. And I'm going to let Nick give us some background on this document. and why he thinks it's important that we, adopt this.
Yeah, I appreciate Josh saving this to the very end. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. No, I will introduce this, but I actually think it would be a good thing, and this is what I advise all the boards and the councils that I sit with to do, which is to take this. You don't need to adopt it right now. It's not imperative that you adopt the rules tonight. Let it look it over, consider it, and then if you have questions, we can talk about those and everything. So hopefully that'll alleviate the need for me to go into too much detail on this, but just to give very high level, you all don't have a set rules of procedure. A lot of your appointed boards do, and a lot of other city councils do. And what the School of Government recommends is a suggested rules of procedure that are based off of the Robert Rules of Order, parliamentary procedure, which you are doing a lot of, already. And so what this does is it just kind of creates, just like your code of ordinances or your UDO, it's a set of ground rules that you all can refer to, and that I can refer to if you have questions about how to handle a part of the meeting or something before or after the meeting. And so I do this for lots of jurisdictions in North Carolina, and essentially what I do is I take the School of Government suggested rules of procedure for city council, and then I just adapt them to what works for you all. And so that's what I did. Basically I did a stripped down version, and I looked at your charter and made sure that the certain things related to Mayor Pro Tem were included in there. Another benefit of having these rules is that right now you don't have a public comment period policy, and this has a public comment period policy built into it that you can refer to, and that you can kind of enforce and make sure of, because I'm sure you all have been a part of rowdy meetings, and you're probably not done being a part of rowdy meetings. And so this helps keeps the order, the decorum, helps things, move efficiently. So I can go into a summary of each of the rules, but I think at this late hour, you probably would either look it over and then we can maybe talk about it and then adopt it at the next meeting, but it's up to you all.
And let me try to do some institutional memory here, and Amy can weigh in. When the town adopted the manager council form of government, I know that Mayor Wiltz at the time had been working with Fleming Bell, who was a professor at the School of Government. He even wrote a small monograph on procedures. And we've kind of used that as a guide, because the formal rules of order by Robert's Rules of Order, 700 pages or something, and he had kind of distilled things. I think this is a good move, though, the next step, to create the rule book for the town of Highlands. And a lot of the things that we do now is reflected in what Nick has presented to us. And there's some things that are helping tighten things up for us and be more specific. So I welcome the idea of us eventually, not tonight, but, after everybody has a chance to review all the specifics of this, adopting this, and then we can all have this rule book. Nick can have the rule book, and our town clerk can too, to make sure that when we are questioning a procedural matter, we are following the policies that we've adopted.
So helpful for us new commissioners.
Yes.
Well, let me just
Go ahead.
let me just do a contrary thing. What I've always felt like is that we have participation, not just during public comment periods, because we feel like, or I feel like, we're all in this together. Okay, just because I'm elected and sitting up at the big table doesn't mean I know all the answers or have all the good ideas. And if somebody else has a good idea out there and they raise their hand, I see no reason that you should not allow them to at least ask a question, make a suggestion. All I'm saying is that these kind of rules, if you go just by these rules, you don't allow that to happen. It's not the town hall kind of thing, but it is kind of the town hall kind of thing.
I would submit that as the presiding officer of the meeting, I have the option to recognize.
Well, I know, but I'm not sure
someone.
you have that in here.
Yes, he does. The chair, the
The mayor does.
rules as it relates to the public comment period are, such that the chair still, or in this case, the mayor still presides and has the discretion to allow, but it's not, it's right now, it's just kind of, there is no rule, so the mayor
Right,
can't
but that
rely.
is a prescribed period. Okay, then we go on and we have a discussion about something else that somebody else has a comment on or a suggestion, and it's no longer in the public comment period.
Sure.
But I think he still
I
has the
can
authority to
still-
do so.
Well, he
Recognize
just said the public comment period, and this is not the public comment period. This is the period that we are actually doing our discussion.
What about discussion during a meeting? Can the mayor recognize somebody?
Yes, the powers of the presiding officer is in Rule 7, and you can look at it there, but they can determine whether a speaker can speak or go beyond their reasonable time standards or entertain a rule on objections. This is based off of public rules of order, so it's not as if it's like draconian, like you may only speak during the public comment period. And if somebody tries to speak during, a non-public comment period, that's prohibited. Like, that's not what the rules say. So, each factual situation is going to be different, but, if the mayor wants to recognize somebody outside of the public comment period, then he can, but this at least sets the standard that public comment is during the public comment period.
I guess I just didn't read that under part 7 here, role of presiding officer. I don't see that, but I'll look for it closer.
Okay.
Yep. So we read it and come back to it next month.
This is a draft. Nick, we can work together and make any changes that we think is appropriate for our business organization, correct?
Yes, yeah, and yeah.
Okay.
I can explain Robert's Rule of Order, a little bit, more clearly, but it is definitely where the presiding officer has the ability to weigh in on speakers and rules of order.
Okay. All right. So again, a consensus, we will review this and then come back at another time, possibly next meeting, to make a formal adoption of this draft. Okay?
Okay.
Got it. Amy?
Yeah.
You're good?
I'm just saying, it's a fairly long document, and I'm just saying, if you get too many rules, you lose a lot of public input.
Okay. Very good. All right. Number 19, our added agenda item would be a grant resolution request, grant application, Josh Ward.
Yeah, so this resolution is exactly the same as the last one for the water resiliency improvements. This one is for wastewater. There is some funding out there for wastewater through the Helene relief funding. I talked to Mike Warsack with McGill, and he said there's a real short window here. I think the application date is March the 3rd. So I've talked with Lamar about a few things in the system that need to be potentially upgraded or improved on the wastewater side. And I talked with Mike today about that, and they feel like they can get an application in. So the first step is for the board to approve this resolution, and then the budget amendment for him to do the actual application.
And you're at a point, even if we approved this, if we felt like we couldn't apply, we just stop
If we
the
couldn't meet the
process.
deadline, then this would be null and void. But Mike feels like that he can actually get the application in
So what's the budget amendment?
for his fee to prepare and
To do the
submit
grant
the
request.
application.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the resolution request number 2026-02-res, as well as do we need to do budget amendments separately, or can I do them together?
You can do them together.
Yeah, as well as the budget amendment, for the application process.
Okay,
I'll say.
second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, thank you. All right, item number 20. And before we go into this, let me just clarify. We will be going into closed session based on the confidentiality of certain provisions of that Duke Energy contract. Then we'll come out of closed session to do a review and possible approval of that contract. Is that not what we're doing? Nick?
That's correct.
Wanted to
That's
make sure
correct.
the audience knew. Okay, do I have a motion then that we will go into closed session in accordance with GS 143-318.11A1 to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential under the Trade Secrets Protection Act pertaining to the amendments to the Duke Energy Power Purchase Agreement. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're in closed session.
Thank you.